Hi, I'm Christine. I'm an addict. And I feel very unqualified to do this. But I've been blessed to have Joni as my sponsor for several years. And she is an absolute incredible woman, but I don't think that there is anyone in here that doesn't know that. Right? There was a time of period in my life and in my recovery where I really just needed something different, and I had made that shift, and I had asked her to sponsor me, and during that time she was going through a tremendous, maybe the worst life storm for herself, and she was like, if you can rock with me with that, then yes. But that's what recovery is about. Right? It's about rocking with one another. It's about being there in the no matter what's. I don't believe that I would be alive or clean today if it wasn't for this woman. So she has the most amazing heart and has lived this thing for decades, in and outs, no matter what. So please help me welcome Joan.
Ready? Hi, everybody. I'm Joan. I'm an addict. And I'm so glad this is just a small group of some of my most intimate friends that have known me through all the ups and downs of recovery. I'm going to start by saying that this is my home plate. This is where I got clean. And I came down to Atlantic City from New York. I was using. That was after a psychiatric hospital, detoxes, rehabs, a woman's halfway house that I escaped from. And I was using in New York, in the city. And my stomping ground was somewhere between 117th Street and 125th Street, so you could get the gist of where I was at. And I came down here, we were using hard. And I was at the Playboy Hotel Casino. And I was with some guy. Probably a dealer. Don't remember. But it was bad. It was bad. And I'm in the hotel. I'm by myself. I had rug burns on my arms and my legs because I was crawling around the carpet looking for one more. I couldn't get out of the hotel room, so I started ordering room service on somebody else's tab, and I started trying to drink off my Jones. So by the time I was capable of making a phone call, I was hallucinating. And I wasn't afraid of dying. I wasn't afraid of copping. I wasn't afraid of 117th Street. I wasn't afraid of getting beaten up. Nothing. But the thought that I was losing my mind at that moment because I couldn't pull it together, and I was going into hallucinations. By the way, acid was never one of my drugs. I hated that shit. So I pick up the phone and I call my father, who's in recovery, who had put me in the psychiatric hospital, who put me in the detoxes, who put me in the rehabs. And he was in recovery at the time. So if you think about that, I grew up with a raging alcoholic father, a codependent mother. I was the youngest of 4. They were done with kids. I was pretty feral, right? My sister, who's the oldest, looks like she walked off the Ivory soap commercial. So, you get the picture of the dysfunction. So I call my father, and I'm born and raised Catholic. My mother's a little Italian lady from the Bronx. And all my morals and values went out the window. And I thought when I was using that I was either being good, I'm going to be a good girl now, or I'm bad. And God's punishing me because I was raised Catholic, devout Catholic. So I didn't think I was on God's all-star team. And I made the phone call and I said, Dad, I promise you I'm going to be good this time. I'm at the Playboy. I'm 78 pounds. I'm hallucinating. I got rug burns on my legs and my arms. And I said, Dad, please, I'm begging you. I'll be good this time. And he said, there is nothing we can do for you anymore. You've been to treatment. I was at the worst treatment. I was at the country club treatment. I was at the woman's halfway house. When I was at the woman's halfway house, who happened to be a friend of my father's, she gave me all the worst jobs to do. And I was downstairs and I was cleaning the baseboards of some bullshit, scrubbing bathroom floors, some bullshit with a toothbrush. And she said to all the other women in the house, stay away from her. She's a loser. She's never going to make it. So I'm on the phone with my father and I'm begging him, Dad, please. And he says, where are you? And I said, I don't know. I'm in a hotel somewhere in Atlantic City, Daddy. Please come get me. I'm begging you, I'm going to be good. He said, call the 800 number. There is nothing we can do for you. So I called the 800 number. By the grace of God, I don't know how I did it. And there was a woman who answered the phone, and her name was Barbara Blaze. And I said, all I could say was, please help me. And she said, baby, you are my best anniversary present. I am celebrating 10 years clean, and you just made my day. And that's how the journey started here in Atlantic City. I was petrified to go back to New York because I knew I would use again. So I never did. This became home on default. It wasn't an escape. It wasn't like a better life. It was like, I'm afraid to go back to New York because I will never stay clean. So Barbara Blaze detoxed me on her living room sofa and took me to meetings. And one of the first meetings I went here was Florida Avenue, and it was an AA meeting. And the guy handed me a book to read, and my hands were shaking so hard that I went to hand him the book back. And I whispered, I can't read. What? It's like, I can't read. So he rips the book out of my hand, he's pissed off, right? And he walks away, hands the book to someone else, and I'm shaking, right? So now I'm shaking so bad, I spilled the coffee all over the floor. And he gives me a dirty look. He goes in the back, he gets this dirty-ass mop and hands it to me. He goes, mop it up. I'm like, I was so desperate to get clean and have a better life. He could have slammed me up against the wall and then handed me the mop, and I would have said, got it. I was so willing. But I knew that I could not go back to New York. I'd get loaded. I knew that. So I stayed with Barbara, and she said to me, she said, listen, honey, I'm going to take you to a different kind of meeting. I think you need to go to a different kind of meeting. And I was like, what kind of meeting? She goes, well, there's an NA meeting in Memora called NA for All Seasons. I think it's I think it'd be better for you. And I said, well, all right. So I go to the meeting, and there's about 6 people there. And it had no heat. And the owner of the marina, it was the All Seasons Marina. The owner of the marina wanted his son to get clean in the worst way. So he gave this building to us, hoping and praying that his son would make his way into the rooms of NA. And so we go to this meeting, and I'm starting to feel a little better, right? It's been a while, I'm starting to feel a little better. I'm a little shaky, still can't sleep, still can't eat, feeling a tad better. So I would raise my hand in the NA meeting, and I would say, you guys are all a bunch of losers, and you're all hillbillies down here in South Jersey. And the reason why, you're here is because you can't cut the street. You didn't use like me, because I was using in New York. What do? Go out to the pumpkin field and smoke a little weed? I was just, And then there was another guy that I got clean with. His name was Father Frank. He's no longer with us. But I loved and adored him, and we got clean together. And he would talk for a really long time. And he would say, and So I was driving down the street, and I got to the stop sign, and I'm in bad shape, right? So it's working on my nerves. I'm not great. So I would say things like, get to the fucking point. So there was a guy, Dutch, that was at that meeting all the time, and he would say to me, can I talk to you outside for a minute? Listen, you can't come in here and tell people they're losers. Really don't want to be telling people to shut up. I think you just need to listen. I'd be like, okay, all right. Week 2 go by, I'd be like, can I talk to you outside? So that's who I was. I was rough and tumble. I had no grace. Had absolutely no manners. I was a very insecure egomaniac. Probably still am. I was very outspoken. I had a potty mouth. Still do. And it took me a long, long time in this program to become the woman I am today. I had about 3 years clean, and Barbara was my sponsor. I was suicidal. I didn't want to get high, but I did not want to live, because I couldn't do this thing. I couldn't do this thing without being medicated. And I had called a woman I met in California. And I said, listen, I'm not good. I go to meetings, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing, but, I'm not good. And I started on the step writing and step working journey at 3 years clean. And the first thing that she told me was Plan B needs to come off the table. And that is checking out in any way, shape, or form, whether it was using or suicide, because let's face it, when we use, we're committing suicide on the installment plan. You know, we're killing ourselves. Our lifestyle is killing us. Our frame of mind is killing us. Our mentality is killing us. And it's a spiritual death, as well as physical, mental, emotional. So I went on this step working journey, writing journey, and I was hurting people around me that I loved. So I met this woman, I asked her to sponsor me, and she was my sponsor and died of old age. I never found it necessary to say, oh, she said something I didn't like, so I'll move on. I got my feelings hurt often, whether it be Barbara Blaze or Dutch or whoever else was in my circle. You know, I was different. You know, I was here from New York, and I was different. So I got my feelings hurt a lot. But I did always take the direction, no matter what was asked of me. You know, I was on the phone call with my sponsor yesterday, and I got direction again. I'm writing again. I got clean September 30th, 1982. Do the math, that's 43 years. I make 3 meetings a week, that's my sweet spot. I FaceTime with my sponsor every Saturday at noon. I sponsor women, I am of service, I read our literature, I still write on the steps. That's why I'm here. Now I'm going to tell you the other side of that. Doesn't mean I still don't have the disease of addiction. And I'll tell you how that shows up in my life. Maybe you can identify, maybe you can't. I wake up with fear. And I'm so overwhelmed with fear, I don't know how I'm going to get through the day. Anyone relate? I wake up and heart's racing, and I'm full of fear. So, in order for me to surrender in the first step, I am powerless over this disease of addiction. My disease is showing up in the form of fear. It's not a drug. It's showing up in the form of fear. How do I move out of the fear? Well, if it's making my life unmanageable, which it does often, I need some restoration to sanity in the second step. What does that look like for me? It's a phone call. I call a friend, I call a sponsor, I call another member, and I say, I'm in a little bit of a shitstorm here. I'm so full of fear, I can't put one foot in front of the other. Now let me give you a synopsis of my life. I run a concrete company. I'm 66 years old. I've been clean most of my life. Dutch was my husband. I met him, I was a newcomer when I met him. We spent 38 years together. We shared 5 children, 8 grandchildren. We have 2 houses. And he passed away 5 years ago. How am I making out? Last November, his middle daughter died of a fentanyl overdose. She was estranged from the family. He had tried for years to help her. And this past August, my son-in-law committed suicide. So I'll tell you how my disease shows up. I wake up full of fear. I wake up with financial insecurity. I wake up with feeling like my house is on fire and I got to run over to Jody's house or run over to my son's house or go check a job or go to the concrete plant, or maybe I should just get on a plane and go to Florida and relax. That's what I'll do. I'll go to Florida and relax. I'll fly down to Florida and I won't relax. I'll be vibrating in the fucking sun. That's how my disease shows up. I am 43 years clean. My disease shows up. Lynn always reminds me it's Joni in her right frame of mind and Joni in her not right frame of mind. What do I got to do to get to my right frame of mind? I got to be restored to sanity. I got to let the people that love me help me. I got to be vulnerable. I got to continue to work the steps. I got to continue to make meetings. I got a great life. I got a great life. I got a house here in Egg Harbor Township that I love. I have a house in Florida that I love. I got beautiful family, an amazing family, friends. I would set it all on fire tomorrow if I could have one more conversation with Dutch. So don't ever, ever equate my outsides with my insides, because they nowhere near match. My disease shows up in financial insecurity. For some reason, my disease tells me I'm going to be on the soup line. I've never been on the soup line. I've never been homeless. I've never been without food. I've never been without. But I'm going to be on the soup line this time. I wasn't on the soup line when I was using, but I'm going to be on the soup line now. That's how my disease shows up. And you know what my disease says to me when I'm feeling financially insecure? You know what you need to buy? You know what you need? Because that'll make it right. You know, I was thinking that room needed drapes. The restoration to sanity is when I feel the financial insecurity and I am thinking about all the shit I need and want. Because when I'm good, I don't really need or want anything. But when I'm feeling insecure financially, I want everything. And I don't go small. I like big shit, right? Because it really gets the juices moving. And I wake up in the morning and I say, Joni, stop buying dumb shit. I whisper to myself. But the restoration to sanity is knowing that I'm powerless over this disease. No, I'm not on the soup line. I'm not even close to the soup line. But in my head I am. And then I want to buy something. Big. What do? I got to get restored. I got to align my will with God's will. I got to take the fear and put faith in place. Another way my disease shows up, you're going to like this one. Perfectionism. Holy shit. It's one of my worst defects. Because if I'm really perfect, if I'm really perfect, you're going to think I'm great. Not I'm going to think I'm great, because when I'm in a perfectionism storm, I'm exhausted. So everything is perfect. I'm exhausted. But you're going to think I'm great. She's really got it together. See how great she is? House is clean, everything's nice, this, that, boom, boom, boom. That's how my disease shows up. The antidote for that is just allowing myself to be vulnerable and to be human and to be authentic and allow you to love me for the person I am, not who I want you to think I am. So after Dutch died, all these things came up real strong and hard. all the defects came up real strong and hard. And the worst one of all was, I just want to be left alone. Just leave me alone. I want to be in my little bubble. Please don't call me. Please don't talk to me. Please don't try. Just leave me alone. How's that for the disease of addiction? Let's take an addict who's in a grief storm and isolate her. That's great. That's a great recipe for disaster. How do I get restored? How do I turn my will and life over to the care of God? I got to write about these defects. I got to share them with another human being. I got to make a list of amends. How about myself? You know? And then 10-step, you know, when it says, promptly admit. Promptly admit when we're wrong, right? So, because I think NA should be as Joan sees it, and we should have a piece of literature on this written immediately, what if we take the 10th step and promptly admit we're wrong when we hurt ourselves? Doesn't always have to be about someone else or something else. How about it the way we talk to ourselves or treat ourselves or not nurture ourselves and care for ourselves? What about that? What if we promptly admit that? Because we have a disease that is self-destructive. And it will kill us. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you have. I don't care what you live. I don't care how much money you got. I don't care how much money you don't got. It wants us dead. We cannot rest on our laurels here, people. We have to identify the disease of addiction that they talk about in the first step. I get it. I was powerless over using. Once I used, I couldn't stop. I get that. But those subtle ways that the disease comes in on us. So if we have a disease of denial and self-deception, how am I going to see this without the help of you? That's why I'm still here. And the 11th step, prayer and meditation, it's responding to a loving and caring God with or without words. Prayer, meditation, with or without words. I lived there. I lived there. And the 12th step is the wisdom to know the difference. That I have the ability to carry the message. And I said to Ephraim when he called me, thank you for asking me to share. Thank you to the committee. I said, Ephraim, people are sick of hearing me. I'm sick of hearing me. He said, no, we're not.
Never. Ever.
No, we're not. No, we're not. So I had the opportunity to have a nice little trip this weekend. But I'm committed to you. I'm committed to you. That's where my heart lies. So the woman that was in the meeting in All Seasons, Marina, who would tell people about themselves and was rude and obnoxious and mean and shitty, I'm not that person anymore, thanks to Narcotics Anonymous. I consider myself to be a woman of high integrity, of grace. I have morals and values that I align with daily. I am a good mother. The disease crept in after my husband died, and I overcompensated with my children because of their loss. And I needed to look at that. And I wrote again. And I mean overcompensated, like in a big way. Like hurt. Like it hurt. I have the ability to love, But my greatest gift is the ability to allow you to love me. I was good at loving you, but I could not let you love me. I was too busy being perfect. I was too busy overcompensating. I was too busy fixing. I was too busy thinking of shit I could buy or do or wear or have. I was like a steamroller through life until my husband died. And then I realized all of this doesn't matter. It's all on the line. What do you want to do? How do you want to live? So I'm going to wind it down with a couple of things. Of course, I prayed when I came here this morning. And as I was driving here, there was a song that came out on the radio that was one of Dutch's favorite old-time songs because it reminded him of the program. And it used to be, it's the song that's, ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. He loved that. He loved that song. He'd turn it up and he'd be like, yeah. And he was a tough guy, but he loved that song. And then I come in and Danny's sitting here and he's got Dutch's favorite hat on that I gave him for his 40th anniversary. Dutch looked like a hobo, but he had some style when he wanted. Gary is here, who is Dutch's oldest sponsee and dearest friend. And then Debbie. She said, I remember 6 years ago when Dutch spoke at the spiritual lunch. And he was really great. And then I left, and my father passed away that same day. And I said, you know, when Dutch went to go to that lunch, I couldn't be there. And I said to everybody that went with him, don't let anyone hug him. Don't let anyone touch him. He's having treatment. He's sick. It's right around before COVID. But COVID was happening. Don't let anyone touch him. Dutch comes walking in Cape Atlantic like this. Hey! He hugging, kissing, everybody. He died that year. And my life got shredded. There is no reason that I can come up with that has been good enough to get high. Just hasn't. Just hasn't. So I know some people in this room who have some clean time that I know. There's people in the room that I don't know. But for the newcomer, there is a program here that is successful, that works, that's brilliant, it's stunning. And that even with all of what I just told you, I would not change a thing. I am definitely not the person I was. But I'm excited to see the person I'm becoming. Because I'm going to continue on this journey and move forward with dignity, integrity, and the grace that you people taught me. I didn't come here like this. So I look forward to seeing you all again real soon. I think that Cape Atlantic has a special place in my heart. And I want to thank the committee again and Ephraim for all your hard work and dedication. It means the world to me. Thanks for letting me share.
Can we thank our speaker one more time?